And here comes Craig.
Now recording.
Welcome to the Yang Roundtable. We've got Fei Ku, Lucas, myself, Stef for Congress. Stef, I've already forgotten your last name. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Davidkov is the last name.
Davidkov. Good. See, I didn't attempt it. By forgetting it, I spared myself the embarrassment. So thank you for coming.
Yourself.
Yeah, right. Anyway, thank you for coming. We've got a nice group here to do a little UBI debate because you are, I guess you are not of either side on UBI.
I've got some scruples. I've got some issues with it. But we can talk about it. Yeah.
So why don't we introduce you, and then we'll get right into the debate. So tell us about yourself,
You
please.
forgot Ariel who invited him.
Dude, did I skip you? I'm so sorry, man.
Yeah.
Didn't I start? I said Ariel, and then Faye, and I tried to pronounce Faye's name correctly. Right. I think I said you first. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I skipped you. I don't think so. But anyway, please tell us about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Stefan Davidkov. I go by Stef. I'm running as an independent for the 9th Congressional District of Illinois for the U.S. House of Representatives. The first thing people ask me is, are you on the right or the left? When I say I'm running as an independent.
Well, right, yeah.
And I already know people are thinking that when I say I'm running as an independent. I've always considered myself to be on the left. But as I've kind of been talking to people about my platform, they kind of see me more as a libertarian. So that's interesting too, something we might talk about. Can I ask, do you all identify as like right or left or anywhere?
It's a false dichotomy, I would say. And I mean, that's kind of the I think that's the tone of the room. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Pretty much.
There you go.
Mean, we've got people who used to be in one party, have switched parties. We've got people here who've never really joined a party, maybe even. I joined the Democratic Party this last year in order to have a group to do politics with. But I have hosted, all different kinds of people on my podcast, and it's been an issue. Like I've had my local politician who's, has been working with the Democrats and ran as a Democrat. She came on my podcast, even though she came on a live stream, not this one. Even though her, campaign advisors were advising her against it because I had invited one of her opponents is I think he was running as a libertarian in our area. So she was perfectly happy to talk to him, and so was he. He was very excited, but it's just a thing now. Like our country just can't seem to get past, these like colored shirts that you wear to demonstrate which team you're on. And we should really be on the same team, right?
Yeah.
Ariel, you switched parties.
Well, I mean, in 2016, I was a Trump supporter. I don't even want to say fan. I want to say supporter because I thought like, bringing the jobs back. Like as a millennial, our job prospects were like all service industry, minimum wage and stuff like that. So I thought like, he's good in business. He can bring some high paying jobs to the States, especially for younger people. And then when Andrew Yang ran in 2018, I'm like, well, that settles it. Trump sucks and Yang is like far more intelligent than Trump, maybe like 1,000 times more intelligent than he is. So I'm going with Yang. And that's all it took.
So you were thinking a lot about jobs for young people, and at first you thought Trump kind of was kind of looking out for that, and then you thought Andrew just had a better take on it. So if I'm getting it right, you're very focused on like economic issues.
Yeah, I'm very focused on economic because it boils my blood to no end that everybody says lazy millennial. It's like, excuse me, jackass, we didn't cause the crash of 2008. That was on you older people, and now you're blaming us. And then all of a sudden, a job that used to require like a high school diploma and not even a high school education is requiring a bachelor's degree. And I was all like, screw that's so stupid. And I thought like Trump would change that, but it turns out when Yang talked about AI and automation and robots and all that stuff and how that's the actual culprit, that made a lot more sense to me, and it just clicked, and I was Yang Gang ever since, and I never looked back.
So I think I like this group because we're kind of getting away from that partisan left-right scenario. Do you think people are ready for that? I mean, do you think people are ready to vote for like independents and third parties? I know everyone talks about, oh, the two-party system sucks. Everyone complains about it
gotta
every
get
year. It's like,
back you gotta get past the clout barrier. That's the only thing. Like I wish like if we had as many subscribers as Coffeezilla had, we'd probably get you a lot of attention. But like it's so like us serious channels who seriously want to do things, if we can't entertain people in like 10 seconds or less, like people aren't paying attention. So
they
like
click off.
yeah,
Yeah, they click to the next
right,
video or
exactly.
keep
Yeah,
scrolling.
yeah. So that's what we're trying to work on.
Okay, and I saw there's someone else running for Congress in this group somewhere, right? Or there's people running for different
Yeah, we've
offices.
had a
I
lot
saw.
of people. Like we have Sheridan, have like Ben Sass. He's been on here before too. We have a lot of people. Like our only freaking barrier is like how we get the eyeballs. That's all. Because if we got the eyeballs, I mean, we'd be there. But we're trying to crack. It's a tough nut to crack.
Well, we also have
Got to break through the
Yeah,
algorithm.
the algorithm.
The algorithm.
we've had people from the Green Party come and present. Who did we have? Was he was I forget. We've had so many guests on in the last year now that I'm sorry my memory doesn't hold everybody at the same time right when I want to recall. But we have had all kinds of different people come to the podcast. But we even have somebody who is creating a super PAC to help conservatives run on UBI, and so we have
Wow.
a lot of things going on, and we're really focused on ending poverty the best that we can, trying to get people's voices out there to actually fix the problems that they're experiencing in their poverty lives.
Yeah.
So there you go.
What is the conservative case for UBI? I know people on the left usually are the ones you think of, like, oh, social redistribution or income redistribution upwards. What's the
Okay.
conservative case for it?
Conservatives usually like can't stand like big complicated bureaucracy. And if you think about traditional welfare, you're penalized for doing better in your life. You make more regular money on welfare, they take some of that help away. With UBI, they don't do that, and you don't have to go through this large, complicated bureaucracy, and you get the money no matter what. So that means like if you making zero, you get the money. But if you make more than zero, you're still getting the money. So it's like, oh, so I can make more, so I can do more. On unemployment, they'll give you the money, but then you get a job that pays less than your unemployment. They take that money away from you. So where's the incentive? So yeah, that's it.
Incentives
So
are
I guess we
underlined.
can.
Yeah. And also, I would say the other thing that conservatives really like about this is that when you do, they call it the instead of a income tax, they call it the negative income tax. And so they see it as a tax credit for people who are doing, just everyday things. It's very simple for them.
Okay. So I like that we brought up social programs because this gets into my first issue with UBI as it's been proposed so far. Andrew Yang, I think originally this was part of his plan where if you are getting, for example, food stamps or Social Security or some other social program, that amount would be deducted from the UBI. And that's something I would not support in a UBI program. I think it should be almost the opposite. If you're someone who needs social help, I mean, that UBI really should be for you.
Hold on.
That's
yeah.
So that means what I'm hearing from you is that you're actually for the universal basic income.
Yes, I like it as a concept. Yeah, I do like the idea of universal basic income.
And what is the reason that you think it's good?
The classic leftist rationale for me, it's a means of alleviating poverty, right? We saw with the stimulus checks, both under Trump and Biden, that the government basically has a switch it can flip to end poverty. And we kind of did that. I mean, for a month, people were able to get up above the poverty threshold. I forget what the exact numbers are, but thousands, hundreds of thousands of people were bumped temporarily up above that poverty threshold. So that's something that we can do just forever going forward. And I'm a big fan of that. I'm a proponent of poor people getting money. I don't think you should have. That's it. That's really it.
It's weird because
yeah.
in your view of the world, like that's a simple thing. Whereas on the conservative side, it feels the exact opposite. For them, it's super simple that if you give people money, then they won't work for it. And so
right, exactly.
It's equally simple to them in that sort of
right. Well, the thing that we found in the Stockton pilot in Stockton, California, is that people got better jobs because they could afford to take a day off and apply to better ones. That was the thing that happened. But I understand what you're talking about with the food stamps and the the other kind of social programs. But here's the thing too about that is that it's a choice. Says that you can either choose the UBI or you can choose to be on the regular benefits, but you can't have both. And I guess that because then the conservatives would just blow a fuse if they could get both. That's the thing we're trying to do. But if the choice is there, but I see how it's on its butt.
So
yeah.
I have an idea here. I don't know if you guys have looked at my website, but if you look at my tax plan, I have a tax cut in there for everyone making under $100,000, especially for those earning under $50,000. My plan would reduce federal income taxes for people earning $50,000 or less a year to zero. So next time Biden wants to do, like a child tax credit or something, it's not going to be poor people getting their own tax money back. It's going to be genuine assistance. So I kind of think of that as a kind of UBI, just a general tax cut. You've got more money in your pocket. And it does balance out. I mean, I use 2019 IRS tax data for my plan.
Okay, I'm on your website right now.
Sure.
And first, I want to let our audience know, in case they're just listening and not watching.
Oh, yeah.
It's stefforcongress.com, STEF, the number 4, congress.com. And I'm looking at a policy you have in the policy proposals called Essential Worker Tax Cut. Is that the one you're talking about?
Right, that's the one, right. So lots of other countries also have a bottom income tax bracket of 0%. And I think we should definitely move to that model, especially after COVID, as we're rebuilding from COVID. Really, the people that need money the most are the ones who got hit the hardest, the ones at the bottom of the income spectrum. We know that poor people spend money, they stimulate the economy. And again, I did the math with 2019 IRS tax data to make it revenue neutral at the very least. And actually, I think my specific plan ends up with $150 million surplus just by increasing taxes on people making over $1 million a year.
But Steph, the importance of a UBI is that nobody starts with $0 at the beginning of the month. So that includes people that don't pay taxes too.
I'm interested in whether you feel comfortable with a negative income tax, because your tax bracket starts at 0, but the people who are for UBI on the conservative side are actually for starting that at negative, and that's what they're thinking about as a UBI.
I think it can be both and. So I think we can start at 0. So first, cut taxes to 0 for the poorest people, and then on top of that, you get whatever used to be like a tax credit now is just a check. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like a check. If that's the thing, it just has to be monthly and an amount. That's what a UBI is, just monthly and an amount. So just like like in a game, like if you're a video gamer, every time, like, you can lose a life, but even when you're at 0 lives and you get that game over screen, you still have another chance. So like every check is like a chance that nobody should be able to go without. And it's like,
I see what you're saying here. So the fact that it's monthly is important, is right. What you're saying. That, like that. Okay, I understand.
Yeah,
That would be the income portion of it.
yeah.
Like income
Even
meaning
if you
an
even if
irregular.
right, even if you had zero income, because if you had zero income, what are you going to pay taxes on? You can't. No, so that's the thing. But every month just gives you something to stand on, because if you're at zero, you can get in the negatives like pretty quickly. So that's the importance of it.
Well, the other aspect that you were talking about in terms of, why should you lose your food stamps or lose something that you're already getting, which you need, right? I'm actually a recipient of food stamps right now, and so I'm pretty public about,
Mhm.
some of the problems with that. Uh, there are a lot of
Good for
issues
you. Yeah.
with the program. I would certainly prefer to receive my food stamps as cash, where the difference is freedom, right? So there's so many things you can't do with food stamps, and it's meant to protect me somehow, because I don't have the choice to use it a different way. I don't I don't think that's necessarily a good protection. And I also think that it's pointless. It's almost like only good people, right, who are very, very law abiding are going to follow all the rules of these programs. And then everybody else, the average person, is going to do what they want anyway because they need to.
Right, and to a Faye is not like a high school dropout. Faye is a Berkeley graduate who, if there were jobs in her field, I'm sure around the area she'd live in, probably pick it up in a heartbeat, but there aren't. So it has nothing to do with laziness. It just has to do with like predicaments. Because if Faye was lazy, she wouldn't graduate from such a prestigious university and be doing this podcast. So that's the
Yeah,
myth.
you won't hear the laziness argument from me. Not
Right,
at all.
exactly.
I don't even. I agree with what Yang says that as we move towards automation, we shouldn't be working anyway. Most of us,
There you
right?
go,
I
yeah.
mean, the idea is that the robots take the jobs that then we don't have to do these horrible things. We can go plant flowers and play music and do things we
There
actually
you go,
enjoy.
your guitars, yeah.
Well, those
Fly drones, that's my thing. But yeah.
But all those time-saving
Yeah.
devices are not saving us time. Instead, they're turning around and trying to turn us into robots to work harder and to compete with robots. Doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Why did we invent the washing machine if we don't get those, 3 hours back?
The
from scrubbing
dishwasher,
clothes?
the
Yeah.
dishwasher, like why we invent the thing is that like the robots work for us, we don't work for them. But then it's like the people who own the robots are supposed to make our lives better, not more miserable, not extract more of our life from us.
But that's what's
That's
been happening. Like you have to reply to people at the speed of email and faxes, and you need to, make sure that you can work as hard as a machine could work, because that's how you're the limiting factor now. So machines are supervising us during coronavirus.
Right, and then like you're a CoffeeZilla fan, and the point that I was trying to make was that the more and more desperate people get, the more and more they're gonna go for some scammer, for some online course that says like, hey, you have your you heard it. You have your
that's its own little set of issues there. The online
exactly.
scams. Yeah.
You have your last $1,000, spend it on this thing, and then someone can just lose everything from some liar. So if we don't have like a monthly thing coming in, because a lot of people, they have their family to fall back on, they have a job to fall back on, but some people don't even have that.
So
Right.
one more thing in terms of why we need to get rid of food stamps if possible, and to actually go.
Oh, so you're for about just getting rid of food stamps entirely, like not even.
I would be fine with giving up mine, and I would be fine with it being a choice, because I believe that everybody is going to choose. You're going to choose.
Interesting. So you'd rather get the check than the stamps. Okay.
So
Well,
why?
yeah, you said you'd rather get the check than the stamps, but
why people are
go
going to
ahead.
choose
Go
it
ahead.
first
Sorry.
of all is because it's going to give you more freedom. Okay, so why would I want something that's attached? It's like giving me a gift card I can only use at this one store, right? Or giving me cash. Which one am I going to want? So, but the second thing is, the reason we call it a universal basic income is the basic income is supposed to cover all your bases. So we need it in an amount that's going to cover all of your bases, including the food. And so that's, the idea is to move towards something that's simpler, not means tested, and you get as much benefit out of this cash as you can. Go ahead.
So you'd you'd want to give the same UBI to someone making like 200,000 and someone making nothing.
That's what makes it
Okay.
universal.
Is there a reason for that? Like why? Because the next thing I was going to have to bring up, the next issue is obviously you have to pay for this. I understand there's modern monetary theory. I don't know if you guys are big MMT people.
We heard about it, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a big problem with MMT that we can talk about, but the paying for it part I think is important to at least talk about and have an answer to for people. And I think means testing it. I mean, whatever, make it 100,000 a year or 200,000 somewhere would make it a lot easier to pay for, in my opinion. That's just one argument for.
Well,
means
here's the
testing.
thing, okay? Here's how like the rich actually aren't making money off of this and are spending more. Andrew Yang proposed the 10% VAT, which stands for value added tax. So let's say
I read
that
about
Jeff
the VAT. Yeah.
Right. Let's just say Jeff Bezos buys himself a rocket to Mars. We charge 10%. Some rich guy buys like a yacht, which 10%. Some other guy, and it's consumption, so not everybody has to pay it. We remove consumer staples from it, anything like your diapers, your baby food, regular food, like all that stuff. We say that's not going to have the VAT. But we get your yachts, your private jets, your rockets to Mars, your big, I don't know, corporate chandeliers that they want to put into this facility, like all this like crazy luxury stuff. Put that 10%.
Tax the rich, essentially. Tax the rich.
Yeah. Tax luxury,
tax
luxury items. If someone who's middle class wants to buy themselves a yacht, we're taxing the middle class too. But it's like tax the tax the luxury items, no matter who wants to buy it, even if you're not rich. You know?
Right.
Okay.
That's what we do.
I want to chime in because I'm going to show you some stuff later. If I don't know if I'm going to go find the link right now because it interrupts the flow while I'm researching things.
Sure,
But I
sure.
want to let you know that the reason we believe in doing a VAT or something like that is because it's about the timing. Okay. The reason for universality is you get the help immediately. So everybody who's wealthy knows, right? If you're wealthy, what you try to do is you try to pay people late
Velocity of money.
and you try to collect money faster, right? You want to collect the money right now. If it's your money, you're getting it. But if you have to pay it, you just delay that as long as possible because that little bit of that interest of you delaying it, okay, gets you the money. That's how wealthy people get rich. Wealthy corporations know this. They do this too. They will just hold, your money, right? And then they give it to you later and they make the interest during that time. So that's what we're doing as people, as human beings, is we want to collect our money now. It doesn't matter what your circumstances are now because we don't know it. That's going to take time to figure it out. So next year, when you go to file your taxes, we will know what your circumstances were this last year. And that's when we're going to tax you. So if you want to tax the rich more to pay for it, do that. But do that after we know that they were rich this year.
Also,
we don't know.
Yeah. Also, Steph, like I bought a $1,500 drone to like start as a business. The thing is that if I was getting like monthly $1,000 checks, I think I really care in paying 10% more tax on this drone that I bought. Like no, like like.
Well, if you're like one of the super wealthy, you might, because little percentage matters to them.
Right. Yeah. So let's get into that. I mean, here's my issues with the VAT as it's been proposed so far is, number one, obviously it's going to increase the price of goods, right? And even luxury goods. I think even poor people should have the option to get luxury goods if they save up whatever. And I mean, imagine you're the person who is getting, let's say, $2,000 already on social welfare assistance. You're not getting any extra money, but suddenly price of goods has gone up. So that's one problem I have. So I'm sorry, just one more second. The other thing is if you're limiting it just to luxury goods, it's not clear to me that you're going to be able to raise enough revenue to do the UBI in the first place. It's going to have to be a really big tax increase one way or another to pay for this program. And if you're saying, well, we're removing staple goods, we're removing like something middle income people will buy, you're left with like a small amount of goods that you're levying this tax on, and it's just not clear to me that that would be enough revenue to pay for the whole thing. I'm in favor of a lot of other like tax increases on the rich, like a wealth tax, for example, Wall Street speculation tax. I think there's a lot of other taxes you can do
Well, they can always
on the
dodge
rich
those.
to pay for what's that?
You can always dodge those though, but a VAT cannot be dodged. That's the thing. It like point of sales taxes are the hardest taxes to dodge.
And the VAT, what it does is it collects money at every stage. So when you're mining the materials and it gets transferred, taxes are collected at the corporate level immediately. Then, as manufacturing takes it, it gets taken again. And at each step you're collecting, and the people before you and after you in the manufacturing chain are all watching. Right? They all know that you have paid yours, and now we're going to pay ours, and then the next people are going to pay theirs. And it just it's something that's been successful for many other countries, and therefore looking around at the international, what has already been done, we're seeing that income taxes are easier to get out of rather than these VATs.
Sure,
So-
but you think about it this way. So like. Or I think about it this way. People bring up that argument, okay, you raise income taxes on the rich, they're going to dodge taxes. Well, they're dodging.
Oh.
The sound went out for just a minute, Stef. So you may have to repeat what you're saying right now. We'll see if it comes back in.
No, the sound and
am I
the
gone?
video.
Yeah, you were gone for a
okay.
moment.
You were
Now
gone for
you're
a
ready.
moment.
Did you lose me?
Now
You're
you're
back
back.
in now.
Okay, so I'll start over. So people say this argument, rich people are going to dodge taxes no matter what you do, right? And so the way I think of it is, okay, the top bracket right now is 37%. In my plan, the top bracket is 75% for any income over 10 million. Are people still going to dodge taxes? Yeah, they're going to dodge, but there's no way they can dodge all of that, is my thinking.
Right,
So
but yeah, for sure. But we're saying that that point of sales taxes, like the impossible ones to dodge.
Well, also there is no way. There's no good way to dodge those. But not only is it more efficient and effective in collecting it, the other thing is it's just again about the timing. Again, suppose I give you $10,000 now, and then later I tax it back, and I take the 10,000 later.
Put in the bank.
Was there really it's like I could do that first, or I could give you the 10,000, or I could take 10,000 from you and then give you 10,000 later. Like it's somewhat the same, but different for humans.
I don't know if we're gonna. I think
for the human being, right?
we can get you.
Yeah, for the human being though, it's if you're poor, it makes a huge difference whether the government trusts you enough to give you that money first, or they're going to wait a year and find out, how much we're going to give you next year. So it's more important for the humans to be able to live and be able to do the things they need to do first. And then we can talk about how much taxes do you owe later. This is why the timing is really the issue.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we're going to see eye to eye on this. Can I try to button this up real quick? So I'm totally with you on raising taxes for the rich in order to pay for social programs, raising taxes on corporations. But I think there are ways to do it that don't involve VAT, which raises prices of goods. We can just. I think that's a minor enough disagreement that we can agree to disagree on that. You like one way of taxing, I like different ways of taxing.
No. I'm not. I don't. The thing that I care about the most is that people don't start with no floor. That is the bottom line. If we can all do this,
coming in, that was not something I understood. Now I understand that much better. Yeah. That you want.
Good.
I understand much better now that you a tax cut doesn't really do it because tax cut doesn't do anything for people who aren't making any money.
A lot of people can't even drive to the jobs that they need to drive to. A lot of people don't have like the clothes for like a job interview. A lot of people they're shut-ins, taking care of like family members. And like I personally know someone like that, and if you can't even afford broadband internet, like even remote jobs aren't like available for you. So it's really important that we tend to overlook all these people, and we tend to say, oh well, or they're lazy, or all this other BS. But if you have to water a seed for it to grow. You can't ask a seed to grow and then say we'll water you after you grow. And I really look at UBI as that like initial watering and not telling the thing to grow and then you water it, you know? So I hope that makes sense.
So
Yeah, I'm
the
understanding.
reason
Yeah.
I talk about the
Okay.
timing is that it's what we're saying is that it doesn't cost more money to fund this. What you're doing is you're funding it in a different. You're just doing the timing of the payments a different way. So a lot of people think that it's costing more money, but actually it's not costing as much money as you might think, because first of all, we want to eliminate some of these other programs that could be rolled into it, right? Because
And
these
they're
other programs
demeaning.
are limiting and demeaning, yes. And then, so if you take the cost that you're already putting into that, okay, and you subtract that from the cost, and then also you want to subtract the cost. What you're looking at is money that's being given out as quantitative easing right now to banks. So what happens is we have to save the banks, right? We propped up the banks to the tune of $4 trillion, something like that, at the last financial crisis.
Yeah, and then
And so
suddenly
what
when
if-
people need money, we don't have it.
But what
And-
if we took that money and instead of spending it on just making sure that the bank system still works, you know, and then all the people lose their homes? What if we gave that money at the different level? We gave it to the human beings and let them pay. They're going to pay the institutions, right? Because they're already in debt to the banks. Right. All they're doing is trying to pay the debt. So the banks are going to collect it at the end of the day. But at the beginning of the day, we've issued it to the person
passes through their hands.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's very capitalistic still, but it's absolutely
It's just
going to be
capitalism that
necessary.
doesn't start at zero. Like that,
Mhm.
that's what I was trying to get. And people are so caught up in this communism capitalism dichotomy. It's ridiculous. Like, I think they should both go the way of the dodo. I don't like communism. I don't like pure capitalism. I like a humane economy that takes like human creativity and human like feelings into account instead of just looking at some GDP thing that nobody wakes up in the morning and says, oh, how high is GDP today? Nobody gives a damn. They wake up and they say like, how's my life going?
As someone who traded stocks, I can tell you that's not true. There are a lot of people who wake up and they check the S&P 500. I can tell. So, I mean, but it's people with disposable income who are, you know,
right. If it's not people with zero, you know, who are starting at zero. Yeah.
It's not a working class problem.
Lucas is wanting to jump in. You've got something you want to jump in with.
Oh, I just wanted to say, because of what Faye and you, Ariel, brought up, and Stefan with stocks.
Lucas, I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
We see the green.
I can.
Oh,
I hear him.
Okay, you can.
That's weird.
I don't hear. I just see some spinning boxes. And...
Okay, we both need to reset our thing. We push the refresh button.
Okay. Hold on.
That's weird because I hear Lucas
All right,
just fine.
I'm going to refresh.
Yeah. The internet issues are difficult. It's tough.
Okay.
All right. You're back.
I can see you.
There we go. Okay.
Can you hear and see Lucas now?
It says he's muted.
Lucas, you're muted.
Oh, Lucas is muted now.
You're doing it on the phone, and I think you've muted your computer, something like that.
It's all right. It's COVID. We're figuring it out.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You guys see me and hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
That's good.
Okay, so I wanted to say it's interesting, Stefan, Faye, and Ariel, you brought up about like the stock market and everything, because recently I saw a video on the Young Turks about the housing bubble, how Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian, a few of them talked about.
I just watched that today, actually. Yeah.
Oh, you saw the video from a couple days ago. Yeah. And it's a little different, but see, what the one thing they won't say, and this kind of disappointed me that Cenk Uygur didn't mention this. You've heard of the website Zillow before, right? With all the houses that are on market for days and months on it. They didn't mention that. And I'm a little disappointed because that's the reason why the housing bubble is becoming the way it is right now. Because these 100,000 to 300,000 homes, cost-wise, aren't being bought for like this amount for renters month in states and stuff.
I'm not sure I fully understand. What is it Zillow is doing?
Oh, so if you see these different realtor companies on Zillow, pretty much there's these houses and they literally sit on the market for weeks and months on end, sometimes like 200 days, 100 days, close to a year. So, yeah.
So what you're saying is there's a lot of stock out there, but people can't
Right.
afford it. And yet there are
Right.
people who need a house and they're not able to get into them. They're on somebody's couch or
Right,
sitting
yeah.
in the car or whatever they're
Yeah.
doing.
Exactly. Yep.
If I can give
goodness.
a personal anecdote, I lived in Chicago, kind of an expensive area, great location, but it was like $1,300 a month, and the place was horrible. It was run down. I hadn't been renovated in years, and it was owned by a big realty company, right? It was like a big investment company. And since we moved out, nobody's lived there in over a year now. Now, if that was a person who owned that instead of a company, they'd say, okay, maybe I can knock off a couple $100s a month and bring someone else in. But instead, this big company can afford to take a loss on a single property rather than, lower the price and risk, dropping prices for houses in the area. So it's just an interesting, way that big companies are able to artificially inflate. And I was wondering, this is obviously your podcast. You can decide what direction to go, but I was hoping we might talk a little bit about like campaigning strategies, getting the message out.
Sure, that's fine.
Since I think there's a lot we agree with on UBI, I think we found where we disagree as well.
Because I was pitched this as we were going to have a debate, but I was perfectly happy and ready to. Let's talk about your campaign. And you're also welcome to come back if you would like to have an episode where you just want to talk about
all our previous guests.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so don't feel like, feel like you can come back and have an episode just for that, if that's what you would like. So in your policy proposals, what other things are really important to you that you would like, people to know about you?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is democracy reform. I think we need to change the way a lot of our systems work. The big thing for me right now is term limits. I think term limits, it's something that's simple enough that everyone can understand. It's something that over 70% of Americans want. They want congressional term limits. It's actually something that like Trump people are running on, like Republicans are running on. And I haven't heard any Democrats or anybody on the left really say anything about term limits.
Interesting.
Yeah. So things like that, getting money out of politics is another big one. The fact that billionaires like, Bloomberg and independently wealthy people have so much more impact. And also the way that companies are able to spend millions of dollars on public campaigns. I mean, the way that the insurance industry right now is running ads against Medicare for all and fear mongering that you're going to lose your doctor, this and that. I think it's a big problem because the average person can't compete with that. The average person really gets, what's the word? Like smothered there's so much noise from these big companies and these wealthy people that the individual can't really get heard. So I think that reforming the way that our democracy works on like a grassroots level is very important to me. So I think term limits is a big one. Getting money out of politics would give a big leg up for challengers and would really check the power of incumbents. I wasn't really it might sound weird, but I wasn't really looking to talk about my policies on this podcast. I didn't really plan for that.
Okay.
I guess I wanted to ask you guys, what are some methods that you think is good for getting your message out? I mean, so you got the podcast. I wanted to ask about social media, for example. Like I hate social media. I think it rots your brain.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, but I understand you kind of have to have one if you're running a campaign. So like, what do you all think is the proper role of like a social media account?
I got an answer specifically for you, for someone in your position with your predilections. Use Twitch. Yeah. Use Twitch because the audio video medium is the most human, most humanizing, and thereby like most YouTube normalizing, right? Yeah. It's a little bit harder to be a colossal asshat in the video medium than it is in the textual medium, and it's also live Twitch, so you're not going to edit a video, put it out there, and then you sort of have the same problem. There's a tempering element to the immediacy of it, the reality of it, So if you hate social media, you might hate Twitch a bit less. And it is a way to introduce you.
I like the live format.
Yeah. It's a way to introduce you to people who are totally disconnected from politics, but could be brought into your fold. as people who are brought into politics through you, and they will always have a connection to you, and that'll be good for you and your political career. So use Twitch.
Interesting.
Mhm.
That's
Okay,
my
yeah,
answer.
I hadn't even thought of,
Yeah,
I haven't thought of that.
and also Twitter Spaces isn't bad either. It's a lot less toxic than actual Twitter. So when and also in an audio format, it's hosted, and if someone's being a jerk, they can get booted or not listen. But it's much easier to be a jerk in asynchronous communication, because kind of like a soccer punch, because someone goes, someone comes back, someone sees the notification, and then they reply, and then things. But when it's synchronous communication, it's much harder to sustain like bad kind of like things and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And people,
It almost seems like Twitter is built to create negativity, doesn't it?
right,
It kind
a
of
little
seems
bit.
like,
But Twitter
just like you said, the
Spaces,
process you go
right,
through.
Twitter Spaces is much different, and I've been on there, and it's just great. I really like
I
it.
hadn't even heard of Twitter
Yeah,
Spaces. All right,
it's
I'll
in
check
the
that out
beta
as well.
mode, so it's only like special hosts who have the hosting privileges like are getting it right now, and they're friends. And I guess I'm one of those people who knows the hosts. But yeah, it's out there.
So Ariel, are you have you added stuff to our podcast chat? Because we have a chat.
I think I'm in
Podcast
there.
chat.
Okay.
But
I'm in
it's
there.
on Twitter though. He's not on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
we have a Twitter chat. If you were on Twitter and you wanted to do the spaces, you could hop in to some of the ones that we get posted in ours. And
I do have a Twitter. You can
Oh,
find it on the website. I believe I have a link to my social media.
Okay.
My social media links. It should be the last one there. Yeah, my Twitter is on there.
So
I
we
just like I
could-
have one thing. I have one tweet. So
oh, sure. But we
Yeah,
could
but
we
that's
could
what
add you
Spaces
to
is
that.
for. Just talking.
So
Okay.
what I mean is we could add you to our little podcast Twitter group, which is about, like around 50 people, if that. And we have someone who's been regularly posting, at least one or two people who have been posting their spaces. And you could try it out, see how you like it. It's a lot like this.
love that. Yeah.
It's a lot like this with conversations, but you can be tweeting and checking tweets at the same time. And I don't think video is involved. So it's just voice. But it's immediate, so you feel that this is a real person you're talking to. And that's what I think Shale is talking about, that feeling of you're a real person.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your media manager who's controlling this Twitter account or this Facebook account, and you're actually getting to interact with the person.
Well, that's the beauty of like video audio mediums than only text. And even when text came out on phones, I kind of hated it. I like talking to people more, is because like on solely text things like Facebook and Twitter, when it's not spaces, you're just like you're a picture with a bunch of words. And the picture may not even be like you. It may be your dogs, it may be like a building, it may be like whatever, it may be that. But when people, even if it's behind a picture, but people are hearing a voice and they're hearing the tones and they're hearing, because sarcasm is very hard to tell, like when you're texting than when you're actually talking, and things like that. And moods are also difficult to tell in these texts and stuff like that. So yeah.
So do we have
I've got about 8
minutes.
I was about to mention that if you have a hard cutoff, we probably should start saying goodbye to you.
Yeah, I got about like 7 minutes left. I thought maybe we can touch on one more thing.
Okay.
Since we're on the topic of social media. One of the policy proposals, it's not really legislative. It's a boycott of social media. I encourage people every Saturday to not use social media. I do the same thing every Saturday. I don't touch anything. Because to me, social media, big tech is becoming a really big problem. Actually, the incumbent in my district, Jan Schakowsky, is the chairman of the Energy and Commerce Committee, I believe. They just had a big tech hearing where they got Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey and the CEO of Google, before Congress, and they were asking him questions about big tech and social media, and it was embarrassing. They have no idea how to address the problems that are presented by social media. I just wanted to ask you guys, what are your biggest concerns about social media? Do you have any big concerns? To me, it's the mental health aspect, especially for young people. I mean, it's directly linked to negative mental health effects in children and adolescents. I mean, the adolescent suicide rate has doubled.
Social media has been terrible for my mental health personally.
Yeah, right.
I quit Facebook a few years ago. and
We're
I'm feeling
going-
much better.
We're going. We're
Social media can kind of lead to you just performing your whole life, and a lot of people just lose track of the authentic experience, and they're just always in their head going like, "Oh, I'm going to write about this later," and that becomes them. That's their life experience. So you can really lose yourself in social media. It's a terrible thing. And I think we should really curtail it in some ways. I don't think it can be removed or should be removed entirely. I think there is a place for it to do some good in society too. And I will say there is such a thing as alternative social media. I'm not sure if you're aware of it. There are things like Mastodon, which is a sort of somewhat successful attempt at aping the Twitter UI and feel on a series of wholly independent small ecosystems that are not for profit and open source. So check that out, Mastodon. You might be interested in that. I went on there. I couldn't find people that like I jived with, but I don't know. That might have just been me. Anyway, Ariel, sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah.
Go on.
I really think we're going full circle here, because the reason why social media is so prevalent is because people may not have disposable income. So if social media is
they got nothing better to do.
right,
you mean?
exactly. Social media is free, right? That's one big pull of social media. You don't get charged. But
That's interesting. I had not heard that
the
take.
thing
That's
that
interesting.
like you can open your mind. But if
Yeah.
But if people had a UBI, they'd be like, oh, now I have enough money to like maybe go to this event I always wanted to go to. Hey, heck, some people their whole lives they've never been to like Disneyland. I mean, like a lot of things. But hey, but if you're poor and like your car got repossessed and you're struggling and you're unhappy, Facebook is right there for you to say like, this sucks, that sucks, these people, my car just repossessed, this and that. But with a little bit of money in your pocket, you could say like, you know what? I'm going to the mall. I'm gonna do something different. I'm not gonna be like behind my computer all day. Like you can go shopping. You can drive to like the park or something like that. But with no money, computer's right here. It's free of charge, and you go on social media. Everybody has a cell phone, and that's that. So that's the thing. And when people are financially struggling, they're more prone to go on social media and be angry. You know? So yeah.
Well,
Yeah, that was one thing that was brought up during the big three topics I picked up during like the 5-hour tech hearings was, mental health, mostly by like Republicans, oddly enough. And then there was disinformation was the other one that mostly Democrats brought up. And then there was censorship, which mostly Republicans brought up.
There are a
as
lot
well.
more issues than that, especially privacy
Yeah.
and the fact that, we think it's free, but so who is it that said if it looks free, then you're the product?
You're the product, right?
that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're scraping all your
It's
info.
Ariel that tells me these things.
Oh,
So.
go ahead, Lucas.
But
Yeah,
here's
what's
the
up?
thing with Instagram, there's private and public accounts. So technically, if you're on an Instagram account, I know this because I look at a lot of people who follow other people and followers, like a lot who are like really well-known artists and stuff. And I'm thinking, wait, these people are public. So, I mean, if you want to be private, that's totally fine. But like, why would you want to be private when people can just like your photos and stuff and you can become more
Some
well-known?
people maybe post photos that of their kids that they only want certain people to see. Yeah, I've known. Yeah, exactly. But and also the thing for a UBI is also it's a data dividend, because all these companies and stuff like that are scraping all of our information when we log in and stuff like that, and we're not seeing a penny of everything that they do to our data.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll make one more point before I got to get out of here, but I'll take it even farther than that. When you go on to Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, it's not like it's not like these companies are making the content that you go to see. It's other people,
Right? Yeah.
that are making the content. So you are making content for Facebook. You're making the content for
Right.
Twitter and Instagram, and they don't pay you for it. They get all the money, all the ad revenue. Only YouTube pays people who actually put content on
Right,
their platform.
and that's only if you're past 1,000 subscribers, and if you have like, and they put parameters on it too. So it's not.
of the Yeah, of the big social media text platforms, I think YouTube, YouTube has its problems, but that's why I like YouTube the best. I use it by far the most.
Yeah.
But
So Steph,
anyway,
we would
that's
like
got to be my Go ahead.
we would like to invite you back for another episode whenever you'd like to come. What we do is
I would love to. Honestly, this hour flew by. I wish I could stay for the full 2 hours, but I
Well,
unfortunately
please
got
come back.
scheduled to work
Yeah,
today.
It's very nice
So
to meet you.
And
You're a great guest.
before we let you go, we want people to be able to find you on Twitter or to find your
yes.
campaign.
So here's what I want
if you would
people
like
to do. Please go to stefforcongress.com, STEF, the number 4, congress.com. Read through my policy proposals. If you like what you see, consider leaving a small donation. If you really like what you see, you can join the campaign as a volunteer. There's a tab for that. And the social media links are on there as well if you just really want to see an empty Twitter or empty Facebook. But I'll be putting more content out on those as well. But you can find all my social media links also on stefforcongress.com. So thank you all for having me.
For sure.
I'll
But
see
it
you
was
next time. We'll
really
stay in touch.
insightful.
Yeah, good luck with your
for
campaign.
Just this much
We'll
time.
try to help you
Yeah.
with it if we can.
Steph, one more quick question before you go.
Sure.
Who are you the Oscars are tonight? Who are you like rooting for in best film categories tonight?
I didn't even know the Oscars were tonight.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have no idea like who any actors are. I know like Daniel Radcliffe and Johnny Depp, and that's it. Like, I don't know anybody.
I was like, the Oscars tonight?
My girlfriend knows like everybody, every actor, every movie they've ever been in. I'm like, if you tell me like, oh, he was, you have to name who they were in that other movie for me to know who they are. You know what I mean?
I heard about it from a young person.
I have no idea.
So yeah.
Okay, thanks you guys. I really got to get out. Thank you for having me. We'll stay in touch.
Sure.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right.
Do you guys want to keep talking? Are you ready to take it? What do you want to do? All right.
Okay.
It's nice to hang with you guys sometimes and be
Yeah.
able to just talk everyday things. So what's going on in your lives right now in terms of all this politicking? Are you guys doing anything related to electoral politics right now? Or is this podcast pretty much it? Yeah.
I'm helping Nina Turner campaign kind of. I help them with phone banking.
Oh.
Food
Wow.
design.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Could
It
you
was fun.
could you get closer to your sorry, you
Oh.
keep getting
Oh, the sound.
yeah. If you keep moving, then your volume's going to be inconsistent. Not to be a buzzkill
Is that
there.
better?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I helped Nina Turner's campaign. Got his name. I think it was Gregory or Jeff, and I helped him on it.
Okay, now you're too quiet.
Okay.
You've become very quiet. Just be yourself. I'm sorry for making you self-conscious. Just don't go back and forth.
Okay. Is that better?
Yeah. You're good.
Okay. So yeah, I helped Nina Turner's campaign by phone banking Sky, Greg, or Jeff on her campaign team. And
Oh no,
we finished
Lucas, you've gotten quiet again. Okay. So you helped Nina
Well, I'm
Turner's
not
campaign.
Shell. I don't know
Sorry.
why
I can hear
sounds
well.
great to me.
I guess it's just
You
me. I'm
both
Turn
sorry.
out okay.
But I
It's
am
gonna
running the
turn out
YouTube
okay.
broadcast. All right, I'm sorry. I'll stop interrupting. Go. You helped Nina Turner's campaign.
Yeah, on Zoom with their account, that link they gave me.
How does that work?
That's awesome.
So there's this link, and I forgot his name, the organizer, and he gave it to me, and I phone banked random people. I said, "What's your biggest issue that you need help with for this, like, how we're getting in there?" And some said the environment, some said education, some said ending the criminal justice system, and it was very interesting hearing what different people had to say through text banking.
Yeah. Stay there. That's a good position.
Yeah.
So ending.
Okay.
So did you say ending the criminal justice system?
No, what I mean, no, ending, what do you call it? Help me out, Faye. The thing that they always talk about.
Criminal justice? Is it the George Floyd Act that's coming through?
Yeah, helping with that.
I hit it.
Because
I got it.
ending the criminal justice system, that is a bit of an
I didn't
extreme.
mean to.
I'm not saying no, but that's a new one to me.
No, you know what I meant. The whole George
I know
Floyd
what
thing.
you
That's what I meant.
Are you talking about defunding the police? Though?
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
additional,
Yes.
even-
Yes.
Right.
Anyway, you guys, I gotta go to the store, but I'll give my sign off right now, so you
Okay,
Okay.
can know.
Ariel, go
So,
ahead.
so you can find me on Twitter. It's at Ariel's Ariels. So that's ARIELS, and you can also find me on youtube.com/revolutionary thinking. I put up my latest Ariel the Avalanche episode on people who say just get a job, and it's gotten like 5 comments so far that are all positive and all in support. So I may be picking something up here, and I got a few comments on my other videos. So
Excellent.
yeah, looks like it's going somewhere. Okay, don't forget to check it out, and I will see you guys all later.
All right, see you
All
later.
right.
Bye.
Thanks.
My pleasure.
I meant reforming the criminal justice. That's what I
Okay,
meant.
that makes sense.
Reforming.
Yeah, that's what I was
So
thinking.
A bit
why
less
did you
exciting.
choose
That
this
makes sense.
particular person to help? Is this someone that is in your own district, or what's happening?
No, it's because of the Mobilize app, and that's what got me very involved. I thought, okay, Mobilize app, Andrew Yang was involved with it. Let me help other people through this app from this link I found.
Nice.
That's awesome. So, so you actually are using the Mobilize app, which I heard about directly from the past CEO of Nima Sanda. I mean, Seema Nanda. It's literally just juxtaposed her name. But she said that that was one of the ways that they were trying to support people to be able to find their events, to be able to find Democrat events, and to volunteer. So if you have a certain amount of time that you were like, maybe this weekend I'd like to do something, what's available to help out in my area or in a certain, then you can look it up easily on a calendar, and there it just shows you all the different people who are looking for help in the Democrat system, and then you can choose somebody that you want to just donate some of your time to them.
And not all of them are
Working.
camp related. Some are just like talks and stuff. Like we just hang out. Like there's this one of like this coffee hour. I think it's in DC or Virginia, like again or every day or something.
And where are you located? So,
Oh,
where
West Haven, Connecticut, but I go through Zoom events.
you go through Zoom, you say?
Yeah, through these events that they have links to.
Oh, okay, yeah, because nowadays a lot of stuff is just virtual.
Yeah.
hmm Yeah, I think some of the most interesting events that are happening right now during the pandemic is that people are having to become more creative, right? You can't just go do the normal typical things that every other politician has done for so long. So obviously phone banking is one of those things that can still happen. But how do you do, like, what kind of in-person events can you do now? You can't just always pound the pavement, and people are not wanting you to come straight up to them, talk to them, face to face and stuff. So
Right.
I've seen some really interesting events in this last year. And some of them, like the most recent ones, are from Yenny Desroches, who has been on our podcast before. She's had like a tea time. I've never seen a tea time. I've heard of having a beer with the candidate or having coffee with the candidate, but tea was like, wow, that's very meditative and quiet. How's that going to work? And she made that happen. Yeah, and she also did a thing. She was doing karaoke night. I'm like, when is that happening? I probably missed it already. But like, that sounds like so much fun. Karaoke with the candidate? Are you kidding me? And then would you do an event like that, Lucas, or is that too like
Yeah,
maybe
that's fun. I would do that if they
you
have
would
one
do
on
that?
mobile. Yeah.
Yeah, and what else are they doing? I'm like, karaoke sounds fun.
I'm looking what's coming up
Yeah.
in the next few days. I wish they would say what's coming up because they don't always say that on the Mobilize app. Filters. Here's filters for tomorrow. You go to the
Okay.
filter section for each day. Yeah.
Okay, so you just, yeah, like literally if you have some time that you want to donate to you can limit it by the filter search to only one
Yeah.
politician. If you're just, a total Andrew Yang stan, then that's what, just look up his events alone. That's fine too. But if you just want to find something that's close to you in your area, or if you're going to
Right.
be in Dallas for a day or something like that, you can find that. So, yep. So I put in a credit here for our friend. And I urge you to also put your credits in when you are a speaker. You're welcome to do that. Do you know how to do that in the live stream chat?
Oh, me?
Yeah. Have you ever done that? Put in a credit for yourself? You're welcome to do that, Lucas. So I'm showing you how to do that in the live stream chat right now. Okay, so yeah, and the thing is, I'm talking about these different ways of campaigning right now because that was the last thing that Steph seemed to be kind of wanting to, hear a little bit more from us about. That, that we've seen a lot of different candidates come through, and so we could give him some ideas that we've seen other people do. And this whole new, how do you campaign during this time has been pretty tough. And not only you can put together these really cool events, what about that gaming stuff that we've been doing? When we do a social stream, sometimes we played Jackbox games, and I was incredibly, gratified to see that Andrew Yang had one of those Jackbox events where he gets together with a bunch of his, he got together with a bunch of his staffers, and they played, right, and while fundraising. So
That's fun.
yeah, that was really fun. I also saw him show up at an event. It was what do you call it, for gamers again. That was for, they played, what do you call that? The role-playing game, D&D. They were playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
They did a whole Dungeons and Dragons night where Andrew popped in and was, had his own character for a moment. And they raised money for a different candidate. So Andrew was actually there to help raise money for, I can't remember her name. She ran out of Austin. Do you guys remember? You guys forgot too. She was always in yellow in her campaign ads, which I love. I think it's what it is I'm attracted to the yellow bright colors for these female candidates. So yeah, she was running out of Austin, and then Andrew showed up on one of her events, and I was so excited, like, because I'm in Texas, so it all affected me. These were all things that might bring more youths into this conversation, into the politics. And when you reach out on social media, right, you have also all these different platforms to choose from, and it's very confusing. So you're like, why do I need to do Facebook and Twitter and TikTok? And it's like, well, it's just, what do I put my energy on, right?
Yeah, different people kind of live in different places.
But that's the reason, is because when you're the politician, it's your job to go to where people are and talk to them about things and not wait for them to come to you.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, ideally, just kind of have a sense of the whole social media landscape and where you personally fit into it. That's a big ask, though. It's kind of a big cultural ask for older people, and probably something that just comes naturally to younger people. So.
Well, not necessarily. I don't think our friend that was here is all that old. That when he was but he was asking the same question.
Well, I'm talking about like very young, like under 25,
Well, not necessarily, but like Steph didn't look like he was very, very much older, but he doesn't seem to be an older candidate. He would be in the youngers group, I think.
Yeah, and I guess I mean, I don't know.
It's difficult because there's too many, right? There's so many platforms. You're like, if I could just do one, I could do it really well. And it's the same thing for us. Like, we're doing 4 or 5 different platforms sometimes, and it's just hard. Like, we're Twittering, we're YouTubing, we're Twitching, and each one of those, to do it really well, you have to have a lot of energy and attention to what are the strengths of that particular platform. So if we were giving like general advice to anybody, right? First of all, I would say that you would have to be on Facebook as a candidate, just because the people who vote the most tend to be there because of their age. It's an older platform, right? Yeah. So if you don't talk to them, right? If you don't talk to the older people who actually do vote a lot, right? They're really the voters, then you're missing out on a very important group. Yeah. And of course, just politics in general is for the older people. And then as you get to the younger people, you're reaching out, right? What was it? So far, it seems like you've got Facebook as the oldest group, then you've got Twitter as the next, then you've got after Twitter is I believe Instagram.
Yeah,
Below
and then
Instagram
Discord,
is
the
TikTok.
youngest, I think.
Which ones?
I think
Discord?
Discord's the youngest. Yeah, I'd have to say.
Discord is a very unusual type of platform because you can't reach somebody unless they actually agree to be invited, right? Can you invite somebody
Right.
to a Discord server and add them to it?
Well, you can, and like there's different political groups on here, like Blue Politics I'm part of, and there's one other one I'm part of. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Let me look
Well,
up.
I mean, you can't force someone into a group.
No, I
Yeah,
know.
so,
But there
yeah.
is Blue Politics
Yeah.
and the other.
And I've never seen an advertisement on Discord. So it doesn't feel the same as social media, as the other social media, because this is more of a like a gathering. I don't know, it's more of a meetup almost. This is more of a meetup place. So I'm not sure if it's the same exact thing because then you're talking about Telegram. Do you need to WhatsApp? Do you need to, if you start talking about messaging services, wow, then we've got another whole set. Are you online for this? These are things that are national tools that people of certain different nationalities tend to use more. So in the US, we have a confluence, right? If you're Korean, you have to be on Kakao Talk. Everybody is on that for Korea. If you're on, for me, who's from Taiwan, I have to be on Line. There's a one called Line, right? And if I'm not online, I couldn't even be employed probably in Taiwan, like because even employers will talk to you online, right? Rather than it'll be a requirement. So yeah, once you get into like, do I use Telegram? Do I use all of these? There's just so many, right? But in terms of just being public and being able to have an advertisement to people that people can come to they can check it out, but you can also invite them to look at things. I think Facebook first, and then the other ones, it's just a matter of what age are you trying to target. If you want to target the youngest voters, you really have to be on TikTok. It's like you can't even neglect that. So. All right. Do you guys have anything else you want to continue talking about today? Because we've lost Ariel, and so I'm thinking maybe we should just.
Yeah, I'm running out of steam. Let's call it here. This was a good show.
Okay.
Thank you for hanging out, everybody.
Yeah.
No.
And I loved that you really chimed in today, Lucas. I hope that you were able to do that more often. Because sometimes
it's kind of
replays
hard.
is super quiet too. Yeah.
You might be more comfortable with a headset mic, so you can just like move around and not worry about like mic positioning. But anyway.
Yeah, I have old headphones, but anyway.
Yeah, that might help. I mean, if there's a microphone on it. But thank you for watching, everybody. I'm going to end the stream here. So we've all said our goodbyes, I think, already, right? Yeah.
I saw Shale,
Yeah.
I actually saw on his website, right? One of the policies was to decriminalize, certain types of drugs.
Everything.
I think we might want to ask him if the next time we have him on, could we have him talk about that with us?
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I mean, I like you're like lowering your voice like it's going to be real illicit. I mean,
I'm just saying, like
it's going to be.
He's
going to give us his firsthand drug experiences. Like he's going to give us his like very smart but probably dry policy takes. But yeah.
Well, you never know what's going to happen.
No. Maybe it'll get super cool. Maybe it'll be very cool. All right, everybody. I love you guys.